Satan walks among us, in the sea of the unsuspecting, inspiring chaos in the streets and division among the people. He rules from the highest positions of government offices. He walks among the front lines in lands foreign and domestic, looking patriotism in the eye. And in places where we feel safe from the outside world, he dwells, bringing deceit and disorder in our daily lives. Hi everybody, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Linda.
And we are paranormal investigators.
Mm-hmm.
Which may sound strange, may sound paranormal. And it is. A lot of the stuff we deal with is paranormal. A lot of it is the people. Some of the people are paranormal, which means not normal.
Right.
But the activity they describe is always not normal.
That's exactly right, yes. True.
Now, talking about this activity, a lot of paranormal investigation organizations, they will screen the people that come to them.
Right.
And they will pick and choose what cases they take. One thing about us is we take every single case. Even if this person sounds crazy that comes to us.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. Because we believe that this person is experiencing something. And if it isn't something that's physically there in their house with them, then it is something that's tormenting their mind.
Right. Absolutely.
And if you think about it, what is going to cause somebody to see these strange things and hear these strange things? It's not always the ghost of a grandfather that's come back to visit or a ghost of a loved one.
Right.
That little child spirit that they see is not always the spirit of a lost child. In many cases, and perhaps, and I say this based on experience.
Right.
As I've said before in some of our previous things that we've done, the more experience you have in paranormal investigation, the more questions you have.
Absolutely.
And at this point, I'm open to the possibility that any spirit we encounter could very well be something much darker than the human spirit that many choose to believe in.
Right. Demons.
Absolutely. And these demons, the media, the way the media shows demons in The Exorcist and The Exorcism of Emily Rose and such movies, it shows these demons to come on full force, to cause these people to contort and crawl across the ceiling and their heads spin and they spit pea soup.
Right. Not true.
If this stuff actually happened, we would know for a fact that there are demons out there.
Yes.
The thing is with the devil, he walks among us. And he walks among us in disguise, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because if people know that the devil is out there, if people know that demons are out there, they're going to be on alert. And they're going to be looking for ways to protect themselves from this person.
And to get rid of them.
Absolutely. If you're a military leader and you're leading your army into battle, you want to get in to these enemy lines undetected. You want to get in there and you want to seize their capital undetected.
Yeah.
And that's what the devil wants to do to us.
That's right.
He wants to get in there undetected. If people don't believe in him, he can move freely about. He can go wherever he wants.
He can do as he pleases.
Picture being invisible. If you were invisible, what would you do? Anything you want. You could go anywhere you want. You could mess with anybody that you want.
That's right.
That's what the devil does. Because he remains invisible to the majority of people that don't believe in him.
That's right. That's absolutely right. He does move about and he causes chaos. He causes pain and destruction. He causes suffrage wherever he goes. And his ultimate goal, a lot of people wonder about this. What is the devil's ultimate goal? His ultimate goal is to keep people from knowing the truth about God and the truth about Jesus, and to sort of steer them off in a different direction. And he's got many different ways of doing this, but that is his ultimate goal. He will do anything. He uses these demons as an army. He will do anything that he can through his army to be able to make that come true, to make that happen, to keep people away from God.
That's absolutely right. And how does he do this? By gaining trust.
Yes.
We've all seen the movies. We've all seen Pinocchio, where those guys, those foxes, come up to Pinocchio and they gain his trust. Come on, you'll have fun with us. Trust us. It's going to be a good time.
Right.
But not only that, you think about somebody that sees the spirit of their grandfather. Or let's say somebody that's, and anybody that's close to them, be it their father or their mother that's passed away, and they see this spirit. And their heart is already torn because they have a special place for this person in their heart. And this person appears to them in spirit. And they feel for this person. This person is still here on earth. This person is not in heaven.
Right.
And this person starts to communicate with them. Build their trust. And we had a case, for example, very recently, where the spirit of a grandfather was communicating through, believe it or not, YouTube.
Yeah.
They
through
were
the search engine.
Through the search engine.
Yeah.
It would go. They would sit there and watch the TV, type in words.
Right.
And it said the gentleman's name.
Yes.
It said, "Hey, I want to speak to my son." It was his son. It was their grandfather. And I want to let him know that heaven is beautiful, that everything's all right. And it brought this guy out of depression. It made him feel good. And it made him look to this for hope. That's dangerous.
It is.
Because you're looking to this for hope. And you're looking at this message saying, look, this is a beautiful message. This person is telling me that heaven is beautiful, heaven is real, everything is great. You start to put trust in it. This indeed is my father. This indeed is my grandfather. What else do they have to tell me? And these spirits can go on communicating with people for years.
Yes.
It's not they give you one message that's good and the next message is bad. It can be over the course of years that these spirits will communicate with you. From the time you're 8 years old to the time you're 50.
Right.
These spirits can spend communicating with you, getting you to believe that they're your deceased loved ones.
Absolutely.
And then slowly, without you even noticing, they start to lead you astray.
Right. And there are sometimes little clues for us that lead us to believe that something is maybe of a demonic nature as opposed to just being something like a human spirit that's passed over. In this one particular case with the YouTube video, she had also seen, the wife of the family had also seen her daughter walking around in the house, and she'd gone to look after her to see, like, what are you doing? And her daughter was fast asleep in bed. So it was obviously something that was imitating. And that's one of the devil's major ways, Lucifer's major ways of doing things, is by imitating. He likes to imitate people. He likes to pretend that he's something that he's not. Like you said, to gain the trust. You would see your daughter walking around in the house and you would think, well, this is something that's very innocent, that's not going to be harmful in any way.
Right.
But yet, it eventually, after years and years, because let's face it, demons can be very patient. If they feel like they can achieve their goals with a particular person or a particular family, they can be very patient. They can wait years and years and years to accomplish their goals.
Right. And a child spirit is the same way. Many times a child spirit will appear. It wants to work its way into your life. It may appear to an adult, and the adult will feel sorry. Here's a child, a spirit of a child, a helpless, lonely child that's here. What can I do for this spirit? Why is this child not in heaven?
Yes.
And this child spirit will often appear to the child of the family and be his playmate, and then start to provoke him to do bad things. But it gets welcomed in, and then starts to wreak havoc.
Yeah, absolutely.
On your lives, it really does.
Yeah. Now, that being said, with us being paranormal investigators and having a lot of experience with this, people may say, what are your credentials? How can you sit here and tell me about God, tell me about demons, and know that you, say that you know what you're talking about? And what would your answer to that be?
Well, I will tell you, there is something that science can't prove and that people can't prove. And this is where it comes to when passing judgment, is you can't prove one's faith.
Right.
You cannot prove what someone's faith is. And faith, if you don't know it, it is a knowledge. It's
Right.
not just a belief, it's a knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And in reading the Bible cover to cover, some people say, I don't read it because it's too hard to understand. But God
Right.
does speak to you.
Yes.
He literally helps you understand. And when I say speaks to you, it's not that I hear a voice in my head.
Mm-mm.
It's that he literally helps me understand and take away the key points from the Bible as I
Right.
read it. And a conviction is something that God gives you that makes you feel compelled to do something. Once again, it's not a voice
Yes.
that's in your head. It's I feel compelled to do this.
Yes.
And the Lord, he works in mysterious ways. Because
He
I'll tell you,
does.
with me, okay, years and years ago, I've always been into the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw any. In fact, Christians always looked down on it.
Right.
You don't talk to
Absolutely.
ghosts. You don't mess with ghosts. You're
Yeah.
playing with fire. You're playing with the devil.
Yes.
But it was a fascination with me.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, as I was growing up in my teen years, I became stronger as a Christian. And I didn't feel any conviction from God saying, hey, going out to these haunted places is wrong.
Right.
I really didn't. I just felt it was all I wanted to do was
Yes.
go out to haunted places. While other people were going to parties,
Yeah.
I was sitting in the middle of the woods hoping to see a ghost upon a lonely road.
Yeah.
But I learned that as I formed this team and over the years that this is not just something that I was interested in.
Right.
It was a direction that God wanted me to take. And I say that
Exactly.
without a doubt. Not a lot of
Yes.
people can step back. Maybe they can, but from my experience and talking to people, not a lot of people can step back and say, I'm 100% sure about what I'm doing.
Right.
I know what I'm doing. This passion that I had for the paranormal
Mm-hmm.
has actually led me to help people. Because I found as I got into it, and we just started, just messing around, going out to haunted places, and
Yes.
started a team of investigators that would go out and perfect our methods and do research and such. People started calling us.
Yeah.
Can you come out and investigate my house?
Right.
And these calls turned to people that were in need. I have something in my house. And looking at TV, the way you watch TV, oh, it's simple. Hey,
Right.
you can call a priest. He'll come out. He'll cleanse your house. You'll be good.
Yeah. It doesn't happen that way.
No. These people that we dealt with, we reached out to several different religious organizations, and
Nobody.
there
would
were
help them.
not people that would go out to their house. There were not people that would take them seriously.
Right.
The people that did take them seriously wanted nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Bible, if you believe in house blessings,
Mm-hmm.
you believe that God can help these people, then you believe in the Bible.
Right.
And the Bible does very clearly give us the authority to help these people.
Absolutely.
It gives all of Jesus' disciples, his followers, and we are his followers.
Right.
It gives them the ability to push out unclean spirits.
Yes.
To basically get rid of demons.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is when I speak from this point, I can speak not only as a religious person,
Mm-hmm.
I can speak as and I never call myself a scientist, and I stopped before I wanted to say, hey, we apply scientific methods to paranormal investigations.
Yeah.
But I found many flaws in science.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the major flaw, just to break it down, and this is based on my argument, science, for one, will not accept anything that they cannot prove.
Correct. Yes.
To me, if you can't disprove it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Right.
Unless you can disprove it. And science does not account for faith.
Yes.
It does not account for things that cannot be physically seen and heard.
Mm-hmm.
So, retracting, stepping back, we started practicing these house blessings, did some research,
Mm-hmm.
read a lot of writings from Protestant ministers and such that said, here's some methods that I've used that have worked.
Right.
And we've done these.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to say, and they have said on our YouTube videos and such, that you don't have the authority. You can't do that.
Right.
But I will tell you statistically, and statistics is cold, hard math. Math does not lie. I will tell you that 8 out of 10 cases where we have done these house blessings,
Yes.
the people have not had any bad activity since the house blessing has been performed.
Right.
And I kind of call it, I say house blessing, but it's more so of a cleansing.
Yes.
It's a Christian house cleansing that we do for these people.
That's absolutely right. And indeed, the people who are telling us that, who say that we don't have the authority to be able to do this, that to me is Satan speaking through them. That's Satan trying to stop us from accomplishing our goals and doing what we know is right.
Right.
We know by the Bible that God gave us the authority to be able to do this. And there's really nothing at this point that's going to turn us away from that.
You may ask, the process of cleansing a house, that's probably something for a separate video, the whole entire process.
Right.
But I will tell you, the 2 out of 10 times that it hasn't worked, the 20% of times that it hasn't worked,
Yes.
there's a couple factors to consider here.
Absolutely.
The person that lives in the house is a big factor. I'm not
Yes.
passing blame, but I'm basically saying that if the person that lives in the house does not believe in the house cleansing, it is not going to work.
That's
if
right.
they do not continue to praise God in their house and to give glory to Him,
Absolutely.
it is not going to work.
Yeah, that's right.
And for those of you who would say, well, I still don't believe you're helping these people, let me present to you this for an example. We go out to a case where a woman for 17 years has been tormented in her house by
Every
something she
night.
believes is evil. People
Yeah.
prayed, people came in, nothing worked. I'm not saying my faith is any stronger than theirs. I'm simply saying that we did this house cleansing and it worked. I'm simply stating the facts.
Right.
We did this house cleansing and it worked. And in this house cleansing, it's not a simple magic trick. You got to understand that this cleansing is God. It's not us doing it. We don't
Right.
take credit for it.
Right.
It's God and us calling Him into this house and asking, begging for His help
Yes.
to cleanse this house. And when we leave there, it's not just we've come in and we've asked God to cleanse the house, but we've talked to this person that lived there and we explained to them. Because a lot of these times, these people are on the fence Christians. They're people who, hey, I was raised Christian, but I haven't really practiced. I haven't prayed in a long time. I've strayed far from it. Backsliding is perhaps a word for it. And we were able to go into these people and remind them of their faith and remind them of why they were Christians in the first place and bring them back to God. So for anyone who questions it, if nothing else, if you don't believe the house blessing worked, if you don't believe we have authority to do it, if you believe we're in the wrong, one thing we definitely did do was bring these people closer to God. And I don't see how anybody can see anything wrong with that.
Right. That's absolutely right. We do go out there and we bring people closer to God, even when we're not doing a house blessing. There's a lot of people, like you say, on the fence Christians that just need a little bit of counseling. And we certainly don't have any counseling degrees, any degrees in anything that even relates to that. But after doing this for enough years, you start to realize exactly what people need when you meet them and when you encounter them in their natural environment, I should say, their homes, and you hear about their lives. You start to realize exactly what these people need, and a lot of times what they need is a little bit of counseling, a little bit of somebody to kind of take them by the hand and sort of start to try to guide them back in the right direction again, and make them remember back to their childhoods when they were in church. And I think the success of it speaks for itself. Now, one of the things that I find most interesting with these house blessings, this isn't necessarily a tried and true method that we formulated. When we were going through and trying to figure out exactly what to say, the method of going through the house is the same as what we've read before. But we specifically went through the Bible and researched and tried to find specific scriptures that would relate to spiritual warfare, or that would relate to, cleansing your home And there's actually quite a few of them. And we kind of put all of these scriptures together so that everything we say when we walk into this home is either one of those scriptures or it's some sort of prayer that's commonly known, Psalm 23 and those sort of things. So I find it fascinating that it's worked in so many cases. Very frustrating when it does not work the way that you want it to work.
Yeah. And it has power and meaning. And I will tell you, we've done the full out house blessings.
Yes.
And I've gone to places where I've had nothing but a Bible. Mm-hmm. And I've had these people tell me that, I've gone through, unfortunately I didn't come prepared to do a house cleansing.
Right.
But I went through with this Bible, read certain verses, prayed with these people, and I've seen it get better.
Yeah.
Their faith, our faith, coming together to basically cleanse this property.
Yes.
Now people may ask, they say, well, look, I've seen several cases where burning sage and, doing these white magic spells have worked in a location.
Yep.
I don't doubt it. They have. But once again, I will tell you, there's a big thing with misplaced faith. And that's exactly what the devil wants you to have, is misplaced faith.
Right.
Okay? You may have a Wiccan come into your house and cleanse your house, and you may be a Wiccan, and if you are, you're watching this video for a reason.
Yes.
The Wiccan may come into your house and do this burning of the sage and various things to push these spirits out, and you may have no further activity.
Right.
Think about this for a second. What did that do for you? That gave you faith in this practice. It showed you that this magic, that this burning of sage, that this Wiccan practice will help you.
Yes.
And it taught you to lean on that, to find faith in that.
That's right.
And that takes your faith away from God. I'll ask you on the other hand, you may say, well, look, we could say the same thing about a Christian house blessing. What is a Christian house blessing taking your faith away from?
Right.
Faith in the earth?
Yeah.
Faith in some herbs that are burning in a bowl?
Right.
There's no danger in believing in a Christian house blessing. There is, however, danger in believing in other house blessings.
That's right.
Because if you believe the devil is real, the devil is in the Bible. The devil is straight from the Bible.
Right.
That's where they talk about the devil. If you believe the devil is real, you must believe that God is real. And God doesn't want you believing in these false practices.
Right.
He doesn't want you believing in that. Now, if you don't believe the devil is real, you probably don't need the house blessing. So why did you get it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And with these sage house blessings that they do, a lot of times I kind of think that maybe this is not solved. The problem is not solved. It's almost like putting a Band-Aid over a bleeding wound. It may stop the bleeding temporarily, or it may be that it kind of helps subside with the bleeding, but it's not something that's going to be a permanent fix. And a lot of times these spirits, these dark spirits, these unclean spirits will return to the same house. And when they do so, like we said before, these things can be very patient. They will come back sometimes years later. It doesn't have to be immediately. Most oftentimes it seems like 3 weeks is sort of the norm. After a house cleansing is performed, it seems like it's maybe 3 weeks after that something's going to return. And that's kind of what I think really is that they say, oh, this is successful. This has been successful, the sage and everything that they did. Well, it may be successful right now, but it may not be successful a year from now or 2 years from now when something decides to come back and, wreak havoc in your life again. Yes.
Now, if that's not convincing enough, let me lay out some cold hard math once again. We average about 60 investigations a year. That is a lot.
It is.
Okay, that is a lot. That is more than one investigation a week if you spread it out that sort of way. We go every other weekend. We do 2 some 2 to 4 investigations every other weekend.
Yes.
Okay. I have not had one case where somebody said I burned sage and it got better.
Right.
Not one
Not
single
one.
case. The only reports I have of this sage helping and the Wiccan practice helping comes from people that comment on our YouTube videos and give us a thumbs down.
Yes.
In fact, every single person from all the cases we've had, and I'm not saying all 60 of them tried to burn sage, but out of those 60 that we have per year, average of 60, I would say probably about 20 of those cases mention I've tried to burn sage.
Right.
And guess what? It got worse.
Yes.
I even had one lady tell me that she burned sage and the sage went out on her.
Yeah.
While
Would
she was
not
doing
stay
it.
lit.
Yes.
Would not stay lit.
So there's some statistics. And I'm saying, like, you can read what you want on the internet. You can go by these people that are going to say it's false. But most of these people are probably not doing a lot of residential investigations. And I can guarantee you most of them aren't doing as much as we do.
Yeah.
Because we've awed some producers and some other people that say, wow, you guys do that much?
Yeah.
So they don't hear it a lot.
Yeah.
There are groups out there, don't get me wrong, there are paranormal organizations out there that do probably as many investigations and more than we do. But the majority of the ones that talk trash don't do nearly as many investigations as we do, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Let me, on top of that, pile some science. Okay, now, this is me reading stuff, which could very well be wrong because it is science, and science is sometimes wrong. I believe it is.
Right.
But sage, burning sage, actually kills certain molds that are in the house.
Right.
And certain molds can cause people to hallucinate.
Yes.
So somebody may be a victim of mold.
Yeah.
They're seeing things and experiencing strange sensations in their house that they think are paranormal.
Right.
When it's really just mold. Someone comes in there and burns sage, it kills the mold. If they burn enough of it, they don't experience it anymore.
That's
the
right.
sage worked. It wasn't any kind of magic. It was science.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And, to move on from there, it's not just house blessings that we do and not just counseling people, but trying to find reasonable explanations for things that occur when we go into people's homes. A lot of times they are seeking an answer for what is going on, or they're seeking some sort of validation. They want to know exactly what's going on, or just simply to know that they're not crazy. And, it's oftentimes that we go into people's homes and we are trying to discover if there's some sort of a natural explanation for things that would occur that they perceive as being paranormal. Because let's face it, it's very easy for some people to say, hey, we don't really understand this, it's happening. Could there be some natural explanation? And there are plenty of natural explanations. It's not always a spirit, not always a demon,
Sometimes it's rats.
It is. Yeah, that's exactly right. Or something has crawled up into your ductwork and died, and they're smelling this horrible smell, and they're saying, we think we've got a demon. Well, no, you don't have a demon. You need to clean your ductwork.
Yeah, and one time it was a dirty filter.
That's exactly right. That's
Remember
exactly
that case,
right.
yep.
Yeah. So there are natural explanations for these things, but and I would have to say that encountering demons is a very rare thing. It really is. At least it seems that the ones that are full blown, oppressing people is kind of a rare situation. It's more often that when we go into a home, what the reports are that have been given to us prior to walking into there don't happen at all. It's a very quiet environment. Nothing happens at all. And
Right.
even some people have said, this is the quietest that my home has been the entire time I've lived here was when you guys came in for these couple of hours. So I find that interesting as well, that it seems as if whatever is there is trying to hide from us.
Yes. I do believe, though, that demons know this. They know us.
They do.
And they deceive us. They try to, which is why, I've always been one that strongly said, don't quickly cry demon, because that's going to startle the client.
Yeah,
It's just going to make a mess out of things. But with us being naive, to the point where we think there are human spirits, perhaps that is naive. I'm admitting that. I believe in the possibility But I also believe in the possibility that we could be naive and there aren't any human spirits.
That's
They're all
exactly
demons.
right. We keep an open mind.
Yeah, and perhaps that's why sometimes they're making these little noises and doing these little things. So we're thinking, oh, it's just a human spirit, nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And that's what we're advising the clients.
Yeah.
And we could be wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could be wrong. So we always want to monitor that activity closely because we want to see where it goes from where it is.
Yes.
If it starts with just noises throughout the house, if it starts to seem like a non-malicious spirit,
yes,
non-malevolent,
yeah,
that's fine if it stays like that, but monitor it. Monitor it closely.
Absolutely.
Because it could turn into something worse.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And the best investigations, the ones where we're more able to help people, seem to be the ones where we return again and again and again and can sort of stay in contact with people and find out exactly what's happening after the first investigation and in subsequent investigations as well. So, you know, it's very important for you to stay in touch with the clients and stay in touch and find out exactly what's been going on.
That's exactly
Now,
right.
the reason why we're doing these videos is because we do have these people that continuously come to us and they want information, they want help. And it seems like more and more lately, especially, we've been encountering people who believe that they have something malevolent in their homes. And there seems to have been a kind of an uptick in the sort of malicious acts that spirits are causing in homes nowadays. And some people have even said, I contacted you because I felt like I was compelled to do so. Like something was telling me that these are the people that are going to help you. We've even been contacted by women or men in some cases that thought that were Wiccans, that were actually into witchcraft. They had things going on in their homes and they said, hey, we believe that you can help us. They don't always like what we have to tell them or what our explanation as to how to solve the problem is. But we are doing these videos because we want to start waking people up in a sense and start making people understand the true nature of God, the true nature of the devil, because what modern Christianity teaches you nowadays is not absolutely correct. The devil has a very good way of making people realize or making people think that God is the bad guy. And I think it's extremely important for people to understand that God is not the bad guy and they're being tricked. They're being duped by Satan nowadays into believing things that are not necessarily true.
It's like role reversal.
It is. It's absolutely.
And there's an age-old battle that's going on throughout history. It's in politics. It's in the world today. It's in America. It's in all that's going on.
Right.
And it's good and evil. It's not as black and white as people make it look. It's good and evil. It's a lot deeper than what the media puts out there.
Absolutely.
And with us as paranormal investigators, there's a fine line because people say, how does your faith impact your paranormal investigation? It doesn't to a point. Okay, now I take the Bible as truth, literally.
Right.
But if we're called out because there's paranormal activity going on, we're going on to this location with an open mind. We want to see, is there something paranormal here?
Right.
And what evidence do we have that it is paranormal?
Yes.
What evidence do we have that it could be something natural?
Absolutely.
It's when you go farther than that. It's when someone asks us as the people in the field, how do I get rid of this entity that is tormenting me?
Want a solution. Yes.
That's where faith comes in. That's really where faith comes in because there's no scientific fact that ghosts exist. There's no scientific fact that one thing is going to get rid of spirits.
Right.
That being said, it needs to be your faith that pushes these spirits out. And one key factor to keep in mind here, too, is that science does not account for faith.
Right. That's
doesn't.
absolutely right. Yeah. Now, I think we're going to wrap this up. You know, you pretty much understand who we are and why we're doing this. There are going to be subsequent videos. We're going to be doing more videos on various topics. We're going to start off kind of slow, I guess, and start helping people to understand perhaps in the next video what the true nature of God is, and to try to dispel some of these myths that have come about lately about God. about what who he about him being very condemning and very judgmental and things of that nature. And start to try to rebuild in a sense the I guess idea of what God is and what he always wants people to understand about him.
Right.
And
right.
Further videos will get a little bit more into Satan perhaps, and trying to make you understand exactly who he is, the origins of Satan, how he came about, how demons came about, what their purpose is and how they carry out that purpose, and how it affects people's daily lives.
Yes, and keep in mind these are our views. They're based on biblical principles. They're based on biblical fact. And if someone
Right.
can point out a place in the Bible where we're wrong, we will
retract
yes.
and yeah.
and
But
take
you're
a
not going
look
to be
at
able
it.
to do that.
You're not going to be able to do that. No, because one thing we do is we don't look at a line in the Bible. We look at the whole book.
That's right.
Okay, you got to look at the verse that's before it, the verse that's after. Don't just pull out a verse and use that to fight your
Right.
argument. Look at the whole thing and take it in context.
Yes.
That's a big deal. But if you don't believe in the Bible, then you're not going to believe our argument.
Right.
But somewhere along the way, something may happen that causes you to question, did these people know what they were talking about?
Right.
Were they maybe right?
Yes.
And if that does, we urge you to come back to us.
Yes.
If you don't believe in the Bible and you'd like to know more about it, comment down below or message us in private, and we'll be glad to answer some more questions and give you thoughts. We're prepared to defend our position.
Right.
Okay. We're also prepared to welcome anybody that wants to hear.
Yes.
And anybody who doesn't want to hear, that makes me sad.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd like you to at least hear us out and see that this isn't bad that we're saying.
Right.
It's not bad.
These are things to
And
benefit
if something's
people.
not bad, what is it?
Right. It's got to be good. That's
good.
That's exactly right. And that's the whole premise behind these videos. The whole reason why we do them is to benefit people. We want to make people's lives better. We feel that we lead very blessed lives. I mean, we are not without problems. Of course, there's always going to be these little speed bumps, but the ease at which you cross those speed bumps, the impact that it causes in your life can be much, much lower, and you can handle those speed bumps a little bit easier if you have God in your life and you understand him the way that we do. And that's what we're trying to do, is help people get to that point where those speed bumps are not quite as jarring, not quite as impactful, and are a little bit easier to maneuver.
Absolutely.
So, like I say, we are Satan Walks Among Us. Stay tuned for more videos, and we will be back.